Hello. I'm going to give you the materials that you need, the supplies that you need for the first part of the Snowman project. The Snowman project is going to be for the littles, and the middles may end up, I think that they're going to end up doing this too on probably December, what is that, the first week in December. So I'm going to give you the supplies, the supply list for these things. One other thing I want to tell you is that the Snowman project, like any other project, when the kids are finished, they have, in that free time, they don't get to just run around the room. They need to do something in art. Some of them have projects on the drying rack that aren't finished that they can pull out and finish. And if they don't, then for the younger kids, for the littles, which is the K through 2, if you go over to the cabinet, number 6 has some little orange pieces of masking tape on it, and I wrote 6 on 2 doors. Open that up, and on the bottom you will find these big pads of ink. If you could get some computer paper and those ink pads and put them over on one table, then the kids can gravitate over there when they're finished with their project. I don't anticipate the first week of this Snowman project that they will need any extra help or extra filler project, but I would think that the second week they may, and they loved, I just pulled those out last week for the first time, and they loved doing that. They do know the rules, but I'm going to tell you, there's no running in class ever, but they get so excited about doing those working with the ink pads, that they might, and since they have to go over and wash their hands every time they change colors, otherwise there's going to be ink in the getting all mixed up. The other option is if you put some wet paper towels out on the table, they can wipe their hands with that, but they still might need to wash their hands sometimes. Sometimes, because they're so excited, they tend to run over to the sink and run back. And if they do that, I would give them a warning, and the second time I'd say that they're just not able to do that project, because we just can't have running in there, especially when there gets to be drips of water on the floor. All right, so for the first, so that's that. The first part of this project, you're going to need the Snowman project. We're going to do the background first. You need to get these big pieces of cardstock. This cardstock is located on the brown bookshelf that's in the closet. It's in, if you look in a box there, it's a big long 11 by 17 box. Just pull out a big bunch of this, and each child is going to need one of these, unless they totally mess up, in which case they'll need another one. If you go back to cabinet number 3, I think it is. It's the biggest cabinet to the left of the sink. And open that up, then you'll find a bunch of watercolors and brushes right in front. If you could give each child one of these trays of watercolors, and then one of the watercolor brushes that are in front. The watercolor brushes should be really soft. They're made out of real hair, and they could be kind of mushy. They kind of flop when you move them around. So I would give them the biggest watercolor brushes. Don't give them a real thin one. This is the brush. Here's my water. And here's my brush. I think none of the brushes in there are quite that wide, but they're probably about that wide. So they should get water. Water is in the water containers are to the left of the sink. They're like cottage cheese containers, 16-ounce containers. If those could be half full, quarter full, and each child can have one of those. You'll also need, I'm using wax today because I happen to have 0 crayons at home. But there you have white crayons, and they're in if you go to my desk is the first one when you walk into the room. In the left upper drawer, I have to keep using my hands. I can't even talk without using my hands. In the left upper drawer, scrolled away in the corner, it's a messy drawer because some big kids got in there. Messed it up, hasn't been cleaned since. And so in that big drawer, anyways, so when you open that drawer, there's a box on the left side up front that has some crayons and oil pastels, all should be black, white, maybe some gray. You need to get out the white crayons, just Crayola crayons. If you happen to not have enough for everyone to have one, then if you go to the back, and I believe it's cabinet number 4, there's a brown natural colored shoebox in that cabinet with a lid that is attached to it on one side, and it's full of crayons. I bet there's some more in there. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is, I'm afraid this is going to stop on me and get jammed again. I've done this like 3 times so far. Oh, and one more thing. Sorry, one more supply, and I'm not going to tell you what to do on this video. You need these watercolor crayons, and these are in the back cabinet. I believe it's number 1, and they may be up high, actually, with the oil pastels in a container boxes, and they look just like this. Same box. Watercolor crayons. And I think that's all. Could you please make sure that on the back of the kids, in the middle, is their name. The back of this paper, that you have to write their name as you hand them their papers. Okay. And the next video will be the how-to that you can actually show to the students.